Welcome to the BBQ Pit MMA or the BBQ Pit Sports, whichever one you like better. We're going to be talking about the UFC Long Island going on this weekend. I am your host, Michael Lynch. We're going to jump right into it. Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez. Ortega coming into this fight 15-2-1, never been submitted in his professional career. Rodriguez 13-3-1, also never been submitted in his professional career. Ortega has fought only twice in the last 3 years, won a decision over Korean Zombie in 2020, and then lost a decision to Alexander Volkanovski for the featherweight title in this most recent year, 2021, September. He's got a first-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, 2-inch height, 3-inch reach disadvantage. He's going up against a striker in Yair Rodriguez. Rodriguez is 8-2-1 in the UFC, with his only losses being to Max Holloway in November of 2021, and a TKO doctor stoppage loss to Frankie Edgar back in 2017. He's infamous for his 2018 knockout of the year win over Korean Zombie, where he kind of ducked a punch, threw up an elbow at the very last second of the third round, or the fifth round, sorry. I keep saying 15 minutes, but this was a 25-minute fight. So at 24 minutes and 59 seconds, this guy got knocked out by an elbow. It was fucking phenomenal, but he was getting his ass beat for the entirety of the fight. So I think this fight really comes down to two things. Is Yair Rodriguez going to be able to stop the takedown? And we've seen him fight an immense amount of guys in the UFC, Frankie Edgar being the best grappler, and he lost that fight. Just based stylistically off of him fighting a grappler, I'm going to go Brian Ortega in this fight. Although I do like Yair Rodriguez's fighting style, and I would much rather see a guy like him fight for the title over a guy like Ortega again. Still, got to give it to what I think is going to win, and that's Brian Ortega. Michelle Waterson, Amanda Lemos. This one's pretty easy for me. Michelle Waterson, 18-9 with 9 wins via submission, although she is a karate-style fighter, kickboxing karate-style fighter. She's only been knocked out once in her career. That was against Elena Reed in 2009 prior to getting into the UFC. A little background on Elena Reed. Elena Reed is a former professional boxer. Professional boxing record of 19-6 with 6 draws, 4-1 in MMA with 4 knockout wins. So a lot of people are like, oh, she got beat by a nobody. Who the hell is Elena Reed? Elena Reed is no fucking joke when it comes to striking, and that's why she knocked out Michelle Waterson. Waterson is 1-3 in her last 4 fights, only winning a split decision over Angela Hill. Her losses include Marina Rodriguez, Carla Esparza, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. She will be going up against Amanda Lemos, who is 11-2-1 professionally, 5-2 in the UFC. She lost her debut in the UFC via TKO against Leslie Smith, and she lost her most recent fight via submission against Jessica Andrade. She, out of her 5 wins in the UFC, she got wins over Angela Hill, Montserrat Ruiz, Mizuki Ione, and Miranda Granger. She got 7 wins via knockout. She's coming into this fight probably the better striker. Youth is on her side. I think that's pretty easy. Let's go Amanda Lemos. Smash it. Li Jingliang versus Muslim Sokolov. This one of the more exciting fights on the main card, hands down, I believe. Li Jingliang, 1-2 in his last 3 fights, lost the decision in Neil Magny, knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio, and then was submitted by Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 267 in October of last year. He's got UFC wins over Alessio Zaleski dos Santos, David Nzawada, and Frank Camacho. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's coming into this fight with a 1-inch height, 2.5-inch reach advantage. Salikov is blue belt in jiu-jitsu, master of sport in wushu sanda. He's 18-2 with both of his professional losses coming by submission. Alex Garcia in his UFC debut, and then Chris Holcomb in his 3rd professional fight. He's 5-1 in the UFC. He's got wins over Ricky Rainey, Nordin Taleb, Laureano Staropoli, and then Zalesio dos Santos, and also Francisco Trinaldo in June of last year. So both guys coming about a year off. 12 wins via knockout for Salikov, and he also has 7 Olympic gold medals in Wushu Sanda. I'd say, just based off of, I think it's going to be a striking fight. I think it's going to be straight up fireworks from the time the fight starts to the time the fight ends. I'm going to go Muslim Sokolov, just based off of, I think he is the better striker. He's given up a little bit of reach. Excuse me for a second. Shout out Philly. He's given up a little bit of reach. I don't think that matters much here. I think he's going to be a little bit faster, and his striking is a little bit more unique than Li Jingliang, so I think he's going to be able to surprise him a little bit more in their exchanges. Dustin Jacoby, Da-Un Jung. I think that's how you say his name, however the fuck you say his name. Classic striking matchup here. I love these types of matchups. Jacoby, 17-5-1 as a professional mixed martial artist, 10-8 as a professional kickboxer, 9 wins via knockout in kickboxing, and he is 5-0-1 in the UFC. After winning his contract on the Contender Series with a decision win over Ty Flores, he came in. He's got wins over Justin Ledet, Maxim Gresham, Darren Stewart, John Allen, and Michelle Olajecic. And his split draw was against Iun Kutalaba. Da-Un Jung is 15-2-1, 11 wins via knockout. Never been knocked out in his professional career. He is 4-0-1 in the UFC. His draw, though, against Sam Alvey. He's got UFC wins over Mike Rodriguez, William Knight, and Kennedy Andriki. Kennedy Andriki and Mike Rodriguez were actually knockout wins for Da-Un Jung. Here is where the difference is going to be in this fight for me. And it could be completely opposite. It just could be that this guy is way too tough and he's able to land on Jacoby and he finishes him. But how I see it is Jung had a hard time with Sam Alvey. The reason he had a hard time with Sam Alvey is because Sam Alvey is a really, really technically sound boxer. So where, he might not be the best boxer in the UFC. He might not be the most powerful puncher in the UFC. He's got really good technical boxing. So he's crisp. He's got a good jab. He's got a good 1-2. He's got really good defense in his boxing. And that was trouble for a guy like Da-Un Jung. So when you got a guy like Dustin Jacoby, who's a really sound technical kickboxer, who's really good at throwing the leg kicks out there. He's got powerful body kicks, great jab. He's probably going to come into this fight the same size as Jung, but just because of how much better of a kickboxer I think he is, I just even if he can't finish him, I think he's easily going to win the decision here. 3 fights here that are probably going to be on the main card that I did not preview. Matt Schnell versus Sue Merdigi. Shane Burgos will be going up against Charles Jourdain, and then Lauren Murphy will be going up against Miesha Tate. I love you, Miesha Tate, but fuck you, Lauren Murphy. That's why I didn't preview your fight, because you're a fucking bitch. And the only reason I'm going to give a fucking background, too, because people are going to come after me because I keep fucking ragging on Lauren Murphy. The only reason I always rag on Lauren Murphy everywhere is because I posted on Twitter about Brian Ortega's injury. This is perfect. Brian Ortega's on the card. Because of Brian Ortega's injury in 2020 when he's supposed to go against Korean Zombie, and a lot of people were thinking that he was trying to skip over that fight and get to a title fight, which he actually ended up doing. And he fought Zombie, I think, afterwards. But he ended up doing that. But I wasn't even insinuating that. I was insinuating that I seen a video of him collecting his black belt or something in jiu-jitsu, some sort of belt in jiu-jitsu. And there was a video of it on Twitter. And I commented on it. And I was like, dude, didn't this guy, pull out of a fight 2 weeks ago for a torn ACL or some shit? And he just jumps up. He just jumps up off the ground, walks over and gets his thing. And I understand some ACL, MCL injuries you can walk on, but it's not, certain injuries like that you could fight with, but you just shouldn't, especially if you're in a position to, next fight you win this fight, the next fight you're fighting for a title. I get it. You don't want to fight with any kind of torn ligaments in your legs, shit like that. I get it. But I was just raising the question if I thought he was injured. So I was like, is he not injured? What's going on? I was just asking the question. And she gets on it. Lauren Murphy gets on that comment, that post, and just starts going in, telling me I'm fucking this, I'm that, calling me names. I'm a hater because I'm just trying to call him out, fake injuries. I don't do MMA, this and that. The woman doesn't know me at all. And the woman got on there making all sorts of assumptions on me and getting very confrontational with me because of a question I asked. I wasn't even insinuating that he wasn't injured. I wasn't insinuating that he was intentionally trying to miss the fight and get to a title shot. I wasn't even insinuating that he wasn't really injured. I was just asking the question because I thought he was injured. So I was asking for the news people out there, for Marcel, for Aaron, for fucking I always forget the other. Brett Akamoto. I was just asking for those guys if somebody was going to reply. Was he injured? What was the extent of his injury? This and that and the third. And I just got reamed for it. And for that, never got an apology from her. Never got, hey, that was out of line. Never got anything like that from her. I don't know if she blocked me or not. I don't fucking go to her page to check. So until something like that happens, until she becomes mature enough to say, hey, man, I probably shouldn't have came at you like that, which probably will never happen. Who the fuck am I? So why the fuck would she apologize to me? But until then, fuck you. You're a fucking bitch. Anyway, back to the prelims now. We're going to go to the prelims. Ricky Simone will be going against Jack Shore. That is hands down probably going to be the best fight on the prelims. Delucha Lungbula will be taking on Punalani Soriano. Bill Aljo versus Herbert Burns. Dwight Grant versus Dustin Stolfus. Philip Rowe will be going up against Abubakar Nurmagomedov. And then kicking off the card will be Jessica Penne, looking to save her career against Emily Ducote. I'll be going up against into next week to preview UFC London. Curtis Blaze versus Tom Aspinall. Make sure you come back next Tuesday. Check out the preview for that. Until then, stay barbecued. You guys know what the fuck it is, right? Fuck Lauren Murphy.